Hello class, so in this video we're going to actually create a document. So what I want you to do during this is I want you to follow along, pause the video, and try the things as I do them. That will help you learn a lot. Don't just try to memorize everything as I do it, you will make yourself sad and confused. Alright, so I'm going to create a document in an MLA format. Like always, we need to start with declaring our document class. So let's use the article class with, this time, 12-point font. I'm doing that instead of 11-point because I'm actually going to change the font. Instead of using the default LaTeX font, I'm going to change it to Times New Roman because for MLA format, you need that. It's pretty simple. All you need to do is type this in the preamble, \use package times. Alright, so let's specify the margins now. Again, MLA, you're going to want 1-inch margins all around, so \use package. And then in brackets, we got margin equals 1 inch, and in braces, we got geometry. Okay, so just to reiterate, make sure that everything's spelled right. Spelling matters, especially with computer science related things. Alright, so now let's begin the document. So we have begin document and end document. Notice that that immediately shows up actually. Most compilers will do this, some might not. I don't believe that Overleaf does, but if it does, then great. If not, then there might be an option to make it happen. But anyway, if it doesn't, or if you have a compiler that doesn't, then just make sure you put the end part, otherwise it's not going to end and you'll get errors, a lot of errors. Alright, so next thing is we want our name, teacher/professor name, class name, and due date on the left side. You don't have a button for that, but what you can do is just use this simple command. Begin flush left, end flush left. So anything in between those will be automatically flushed left. So let's just type my name, enter, and then Terrence Tao, that's just a professor that's famous at UCLA apparently. Press enter, math 240A, enter, December 1st, 2017. Alright, so if we compile this, we don't get what we want. We actually get everything in a line. Notice then that simply using the enter key doesn't actually work. How do we fix this? Well, LaTeX has an enter command. You just write \/ after a line and it'll manually enter. The reason for this is basically that sometimes you might want to have a bunch of spaces in between things, partly for readability's sake. So you have that \/ thing. I would say that when you're typing the code for LaTeX, you always have a lot of spaces, because then you're not going to have everything clustered in one gigantic block, which will give you a headache, and it just looks really messy. So to make your thing look more readable, put spaces, and the spaces won't necessarily be affected, and you won't necessarily see them in the PDF. So spaces are fine. That's why you got the \. Makes things nice, makes things look good. Anyway, so we do that, and then if we compile again, we see that we're still missing one thing. Double spacing. This is a simple fix though. Go back to the preamble and write this. Use package set space / double spacing. So notice that I've actually put a space in between each little thing here, except for use package set space and double spacing. The reason for that is I like to put a line between everything that is just in the preamble that's not necessarily related, but the things that are related, like double spacing, is directly related to set space. So for that, I'm just going to leave no space in between them so that it's kind of like each little cluster is related. You'll see more examples of me doing that later on. But yeah, so you might be wondering why I didn't write this here in the first place. The reason is I wanted to show you an example of going back to the preamble to add things when you realize you need them. Because it's not uncommon to type a document and then in the middle realize, oh yeah, I need another package here. Or I need to do this, I wonder how to do that. Google it and you realize you need another package, just put that in there, put the code you need, and then go on with your life. By the way, for this video, I'm not going to include the whole heading thing because that's gonna take some time. But I'll pretty much put the code for that in a little basic LaTeX commands file that I'm going to put on my website. Link will be in the description below. But anyway, so let's just continue on with this. So let's go with the title now, because that's the next thing that you're going to naturally do. So you want it centered. That's what MLA format and logic says. So how do we do that? We do begin center, end center. Pretty simple. And then here, we can put rings and group theory. I'm just going to put that as the title. And then notice that I actually didn't have to do the double backslash here. That's because certain commands will automatically enter. Basically, this is one of them, flush left and flush right. Those are two more of them. I'm not going to put an exhaustive list here, just because it's not, there's a really long list. So just experiment with them. You'll learn them as you do LaTeX. All right, so we're able to center this. And last thing is, let's say that I want to start with a quotation. So I'm going to start with open quote. One does not simply walk into Mordor. And then end quote, double backslash to enter it, and then dash Boromir, like we do with a regular thing like that, a quote. Well, if we compile this, we get a few interesting things. First, the opening quotation mark looks like a closing one. And second, the dash Boromir thing is not in the place that we want it to be when we cite a quote. Easy fix though. For the quotation mark, instead of using the same button for both, for the opening one, what you want to use is the button that's directly below escape, or next to one. It's that little thing right there. So just do that twice. I'm thinking that the reason why LaTeX does this is probably because, you know how like if you do quotes on Word or Google Docs or something, sometimes the ending and opening quote is not in the right place. Like for whatever reason, the program just messes up. Well, if you have two different buttons for that, then you never have that problem. So the normal quotation button on LaTeX is going to give you the closing one for sure. If you do double that key over there, it'll always give you the opening quotes. So we mitigate that with that. All right, so for the citation part, we can use the \h space command. H means horizontal, so that's left and right. So H space, horizontal space. You're going to put some horizontal space in front of this thing. So I'm just going to put 3 inches. I have no idea how many centimeters or inches or anything that we need. So I'm just going to try that. I just usually use centimeters for these distances because it works a little bit better. Just because a little fine-tuning. Anyway, so let's see. 3 centimeters, kind of close. Let's try 4 centimeters, see if it works well or not. Okay, closer. Well, at this point, if you want to mess with it to get it in a very specific place, just add or subtract or whatever to that. Just change the thing until you get it to where you want it to be. So that's horizontal space. Vertical space works exactly the same way. And yeah, so that was kind of a bit, but hopefully it helps you understand how LaTeX works. In the next video, we'll do an example of math stuff, and you'll start to see why people use LaTeX for math or science-related things. Also, if you ever become a teacher of any kind, if you're writing a test or a quiz or worksheets or anything really, this is going to be a really helpful program.